What's up, you guys? This is your girl Megan. Welcome back to the Hood Astro Queen, to all of my returning subscribers. But if this is your first time joining me on today, please be sure to hit that subscribe button because you know you want to. So today I am coming at y'all once more with another celebrity reading. Now this one kind of piggybacks off of the Lil Fizz reading that I did a few months ago. And it's also going to segue into a new series of love and hip hop birth chart readings that I have coming up, because there are a couple of people on the show, particularly Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, that I want to get into their birth charts just for various reasons. However, with Omarion, more recently, he's been in the news. Well, not so much him, but his child's mother, April, has been in the news because she's alleged to have been pregnant by his band member, Lil Fizz. Okay, so April and Omarion were together for a while. They had 2 children together. And so now it's a huge scandal because, I mean, obviously people are wondering how and why did she end up with his bandmate? And people are also looking to Omarion to figure out what his feelings on these things are. And as of yet, he hasn't really said anything. And also, taking it back to Omarion being the main member, I mean, he's the Beyonce of B2K. B2K is also very infamous for the allegations that his group member Raz B brought forward. And I'm saying allegations just to protect myself, but I mean, I believe every word, okay? Raz B came out in 2010 and alleged that pretty much the entire group was molested, raped, sexually assaulted by their manager, Chris Stokes. Now, Lil Fizz and Omarion went on to aggressively and adamantly deny these claims. Everybody said Raz B was crazy, he's mentally ill, something's wrong with him, he's just gay, and the world in turn believed them and joined in on the joke, the sick joke. Everybody was laughing at him, okay? And not only was Chris Stokes implicated in these allegations, even their label mate slash quote unquote cousin at the time, Marcus Houston, he was also named as a main culprit of the situation. And come to find out, he's like not even their cousin, which is, we're going to get to that, okay? So there are many different layers to Omarion, his journey, his role that he played in the group B2K. And I want to kind of dig into some of those things during this reading, okay? So with that being said, here we go. Now, Omarion was born November 12th, 1982 in Los Angeles, California. Now, that number 12 deals with victimization and sacrifice right off rip, okay? Now, this makes him a Scorpio sun with his Scorpio at the 20th degree. And interestingly enough, his sun forms an almost exact conjunction to his Saturn, with his Saturn being at the 19th degree of Scorpio. And this aspect could point towards him being under the total control of an older male, all right, especially with that Saturn energy, which is, it backs up Raz B's story of them being under the control of Chris Stokes. Now, this aspect can also point towards there being a prevalent theme of abuse of power by older males, which could lean towards a sexual nature with that Scorpio energy. Now, the alleged abuse that Raz B spoke about could also be reinforced with Omarion being a Scorpio South Node. As Scorpio South Nodes tend to come into this lifetime with heavy karmic past life experiences revolving around violence, sex, and abuse. So as a result, a lot of Scorpio South Nodes can be prime targets for rape, molestation, and other forms of sexual exploitation. So that in tandem with this Sun conjoined Saturn and Scorpio, I mean... It really speaks for itself, okay? It's very probable that what Raz B said was true. I mean, it just period. Now, another indicator of abuse that I see in his chart is the fact that his Capricorn Mars is squaring his Pluto and Scorpio, which Mars squared Pluto is the telltale sign of abuse, typically, in a person's chart, sexual abuse. But with that Capricorn influence, once again, we're getting back to this theme of older males. So there's this, like I said, this reoccurring energy signature that pretty much points towards him dealing with older men. Okay, and in a way that is highly exploitative, and it suggests control issues, power issues going on. And it also suggests a very sexual kind of dynamic to the relationship. So I mean, quite frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was more than just Chris Stokes. But we'll jump into that a little bit later. Now, taking it back to his sun being conjoined to his Saturn, this aspect could also deal with Omarion being very controlling himself, particularly as it pertains to his image, reputation, and career. Now, this is reinforced with his Jupiter and Mars in the sign of Capricorn, as, mind you, okay, Capricorn is governed, it's ruled by Saturn. So with this configuration, it can make Omarion very career driven, and it could also make him somebody who's willing to do just about anything to protect, preserve, and solidify both his status and his career, which coincides with Rasby's accounts of Omarion being complicit in the sexual acts. And it also could explain why Omarion defended Chris Stokes so aggressively, right? And was so adamant and hell-bent on the fact that Rasby was lying. I don't see him ever coming out to admit any of these things, as they could very well create a blemish on his career. I mean, in a way, I hate the way they did Rasby, but it kind of makes sense because you see the way the world views him. You know what I mean? And Omarion more than likely probably looked at that and was like, hell nah. Like, nah, it's not going to be me. Also, these configurations support other accounts, not just from Rasby, but from J Book and Lil Fizz, that basically when the group dismantled, or towards the end of the group, the Omarion was kind of on a different page. Like, I forget exactly how the story goes, but I think they pretty much implied that he was working behind their backs to solidify his own deal, or solidify his own career, solo career, that kept the rest of the group like out of the loop. And, judging from his chart, he's definitely somebody who's willing to, even if it takes undercutting other people, taking it back to that Scorpio South node, these people can be very conniving and manipulative, as well as secretive. And with that Capricorn energy, Capricorn deals with the elevator to success, and Capricorn can be extremely ruthless in its quest for status and success and fame and recognition. So, I literally would not be surprised if Omarion threw the rest of the boys under the bus in order to move on to the next step in his career. And ironically enough, after the group fell out and disbanded, he emerged from the blue with his own solo album, and he had a couple of hot charting records himself before Chris Brown came on the scene and completely wiped out the singer, dancer, guy category. So there's that. Now, get into Omarion's sexuality. Now, first off, I think it's only right to mention that his Mars is trining his North Node. Now, with him being a Taurus North Node, Taurus deals with, yes, the music industry, but it also deals with conformity. It deals with the status quo. It deals with things that are, acceptable and quote unquote okay, right? So with his Mars trining that north node of Taurus, it can point towards him doing whatever he feels he needs to do in order to kind of conform to that societal norm. All right. And taking that a step further, his Juno, asteroid Juno, and Juno deals with your relationships, like a prevalent theme in your relationships. His Juno is in the sign of Virgo. So it's trining his north node as well, which could even indicate him using his relationships to help him assimilate, because Virgo is the sign of assimilation, integration, all right? So he could use his relationships to help assimilate and conform into society. Do with that as you wish. Now, to kind of take this even a step further, his Venus is forming an almost exact conjunction to his Neptune. His Venus is at the 28th degree of Sagittarius with his Neptune at the 29th degree. Now, that 29th degree is the infamous anaretic degree in astrology. It's a highly challenging number as it brings about high pressure, intense situations, even third party situations. Neptune at the 29th degree it can fuck your life up, okay? Because it could bring about some serious scandal. I even call this like the perfect ingredient or the perfect recipe rather for like exposés and whatnot. But Venus conjoined to Neptune, particularly at the 29th degree, could deal with there being lots of deception surrounding his relationship with women. I would not even be surprised if he used women as a cover-up for his sexuality, especially with a sign like Sagittarius, which is highly masculine. There could even be an attraction to trans women. And this could even be supported by the prominent Scorpio energy in his chart, because Scorpio is the sign of trans. Okay, Scorpio deals with transformations, and we're talking about transformation in every sense of the word, even when it comes to sexual transformation. Scorpio deals with the private parts. You know how a lot of trans women have sexual reassignment surgeries? Hello. Now, his Mars is also trining his Juno, which could create situations where he uses women to protect his image, career, and public standing. These relationships could even be based on like a service, especially with his Venus and Neptune squaring his Juno. It could be like a situation to where in exchange for keeping my secret, I'll throw you a bone type of thing, which makes me wonder. And I know everybody's giving April a lot of flack. Like, how could you have kids with Omarion and then turn around and, get with Lil Fizz, and Omarion is just off in a corner somewhere unbothered? I wouldn't even be surprised if they had like an arrangement, an agreement. Like if she knew that, like he's not even, like I'm not even his type. Like we already walked into the equation knowing that. Like, you know what I mean? Or if, he's behaving, because April knows a lot. She knows some of the skeletons in his closet. So that's just what it is right there. And with his Venus and Neptune opposing his Cancer moon, I wouldn't be surprised if he was outed in the future. That Neptune at the 29th degree, like I stated before, can put you in grave danger for being exposed. It can make you susceptible to scandal and everything else. So in the future, if he was ever outed, or if it ever makes headlines that Omarion likes men, or was found with a trans woman or something, like I literally would not be surprised. And this could also even include Raz B coming out with his revelations too, and Omarion lying extra hard to cover it up. Now, his Neptune and Venus are also forming a quincunx to his North Node, which once again reinforces this theme of maintaining a level of secrecy surrounding his relationships with women, and him doing so in efforts to preserve his image, solidify his spot in the music industry, and to kind of give off that, like, that status quo kind of feel, like to conform. Okay. So there's that, but also, side note, with him being a Cancer moon, this supports him being a mama's boy. And I know a lot of people talked about the fact that his mom never liked April, and he seemingly has had a very close relationship with his mom. But with his moon opposing his Jupiter, I'm wondering if his mother is helping him, like, either keep his secret or protecting his reputation in some way. It's just a thought. Now, his homosexual tendencies are reinforced with his Black Moon Lilith in the sign of Aries, which is a highly masculine sign and can produce sexual attraction towards males. Now, I'm not saying that every man with his Black Moon Lilith in Aries is just flat out going to be gay or flat out going to be attracted to other men. But when you take into account other factors in his chart, it definitely makes sense, especially with the fact that his Jupiter and moon are squaring this Black Moon Lilith, because it can point towards there being a struggle to conceal these sexual inclinations. There could also be some blackmail involved, somebody on the back end trying to expose him, or, do what I tell you, or blah, 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 blah. And then finally, his Mercury is conjoined to Uranus, and they're opposing his Chiron and Gemini, which reinforces this duplicit nature in his sexuality, because Gemini is a very androgynous kind of sign that could go either way. And Uranus deals with homosexuality, okay? But also this aspect particularly, especially with his Mercury opposing that Chiron, can produce the ability to not only live a double life, but even lie without conscience, period, on period. So, like I said, do what you want with that. But, yeah, so there you have it, folks. I truly feel like he is a victim of Chris Stokes' shenanigans, but ultimately I think him maintaining or achieving a certain type of status within his career is more important than receiving some type of retribution for the injustices and crimes committed against him as a minor. Okay. Omarion clearly has a point to prove, and I mean, that's cool and all, but I just kind of wish that they wouldn't have left Raz be out there in the cold, you know what I mean? So yeah, that concludes my reading on Omarion. Y'all drop down in the comment section below. Give me your thoughts, opinions, as well as feel free to share any recommendations for future celebrity readings. And with that being said, make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until next time, I holla.